Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video from Radio 1.
Well, you've been listening to me over the years, now listening and watching me, you know that I'm a big supporter of indie music. And by that, I mean independent music, in particular sung by Indian artists and Indian artists singing in English, which is a format that has suddenly exploded. And we're very pleased to support a campaign that we're going to tell you about over the course of the next hour, which is Parx GenZ4GenZ. It's powered by Parx, by Raymond Limited, the parent company, and it has at its core independent music and artists and talent and the musicality of it. I'm pleased to welcome Rohit Khanna, Head Corporate Communications at Raymond Limited. He's really an OG, if I can call him that, in the comms and public affairs and PR space. He's executed so much in a diverse career. And if you look at what he's doing currently, he heads the Corpcom team at Raymond for its group businesses, and he's spearheading various brand collaborations. And the latest one, Parx GenZ4GenZ, which we will talk about, is basically has at it his passion for music. And that has also resulted in the creation of Parx Hunt, which is a trademarked IP for Parx. So we have a lot to thank Rohit for. How are you? I hope the family and you are safe and healthy and you've got both your vaccines.
Yes, Hrishi, and thanks for having that.
Wonderful to have Sandeep Chauta, who is no stranger to any form of music in this country, whether it's been Bollywood or independent music or rock music. And I'm sure he's really enjoyed digging his teeth into this particular collab. An award-winning music director who, if you're living under a rock, you don't know this, I have to tell you, his Number Music, which is his own record label, over the past 2 years has released 25 music albums. 2 are in the running for the Grammy Noms, the nominations for this year, 2021. And I highly advocate you listen to Matters of the Heart, the award-winning album, which was released in 2013. So there's a bit of jazz in there, soul, Indian, fusion. Sandeep does it all. Hi, great to see you. All well?
Yes, absolutely. And a pleasure to be here.
I know, Rahman, yourself, you guys like to work through the night in total solace. Sorry to wake you up in the morning and make you do this. It's very kind of you to take in our request. Thank you. Cheers. And 2 incredible musicians, Tanya Shankar from Bengaluru and Marshall Tyagi, who actually is, I would like to call him a world citizen, but he has roots in Dehradun and the Northeast. Marshall's a singer-songwriter, and Tanya's debut album, Battlefield, is something that I highly advocate that you listen to. How are you, Tanya? What's up, Marshall?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. This is
Lovely. Rohit, I want to start at a very core level, even before we get into brand speak. The synergy between fashion and music, all kinds of music, is just so natural, isn't it? I mean, musicians have always been known for their fashion sense, even if it was, rugged grunge fashion like Kurt Cobain, or, being a diva or fashionista like what Dua Lipa is today. And I think that that automatic synergy is something that really appealed to you as a brand person.
Yeah, rightly said. The synergies between the music and fashion, it's etched out in history. Historically, that has gone very well. So to start with, Elvis was it was the fashion and the music put together. We got many musicians there. It goes in the history and it stays well also, because every musician has a kind of his or her own statement that actually defines the fashion trend. And, we have many examples of such great synergies. And yes, Parx also draw inspiration from music to be a fashion forward brand. And yes, this particular integration happened a few years back to say 2016. And yes, we are carrying it on and we want to make it more, solid with right kind of integration with right musicians and right kind of music.
I like the fact that he talks about integration as opposed to brand, which is such an important aspect. And Sandeep, you must respect that a lot. I mean, over the years, you worked with so many brands, and this particular collaboration with Parx, were you let free to hone your creative instincts? Were there inputs talk to me about, working with brand Parx.
I think whenever we work with a brand, then I mean, at least in today's times, I mean, you are expecting not inputs, but a lot of interference, I mean, in the creative process. But I think Rohit was very kind. So was Arpito. They gave me a free hand, and once you know that, I mean, you're working independently and then you synergize later. I mean, uh, the video and everything to do with the brand was completely brandless when we were working. If you see, there is really there were no instructions about keeping the brand in mind, and just work on the song, and that's what we did. And I think once the song is done, I mean, inputs are always welcome, because that's where the synergy between uh, the creator and the brand comes through. But uh, I think just letting us be, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I took up this project. I mean, apart from the charity angle, I thought it would be great, like you said earlier, to dip in and work with completely different aspect that I've been doing Bollywood, but just to do an English song. But I believe Rohit and Parx did not interfere at all in the creative process, and that's really, really fantastic.
Big ups to brand Parx and to Rohit and his entire team. Tanya, the video, and for those of you who are listening or watching, please go to the Parx official, Parx official YouTube channel, and you will see the GenZ4GenZ video in its entirety. Is filmed in a very, very beautiful manner, and it actually all starts with Tanya looking cool in her shades. So, have you known Sandeep for a while? This is your first collaboration with him. I'd like to know that first.
Yeah, I think now we've known him for like a few months, but this was definitely like the first proper collaboration that we worked on. And I was super excited to be a part of it because it's such a great cause. It's something that's very dear to my heart, being a student myself. And so, I mean, obviously, I thank him for giving me such an amazing opportunity. And yeah, it's so great to be working with someone so distinguished.
And Marshall, as a singer-songwriter, it must be very meaningful for you to work hand in glove with somebody who's been there, yeah, and who's still doing that, which is Sandeep. I think there's a vibe that only singer-songwriters get when you do the hang.
Yeah, so I myself am a producer too on a little smaller level, and I've always been fan of Sandeep. So when I came to know about the project and came to know who was working behind the music, I was blown away, and I thought, man, how in the world I have landed this? And it has been a pleasure, and the song came out really good, which was, I already knew if Sandeep sir is working on that, it's going to be good.
Lovely. Okay, Rohit, can we talk about how the concept of GenZ4GenZ came about? What are its core values? How did you go about executing it? And of course, I'd like the charity element to come through, because I think that just is the icing on the cake. It's such a winner. So please handhold us through the story.
So as I mentioned, that Parx started its journey with music integration in 2016, where we actually conceptualized a trademark intellectual property called Parx Hunt, which actually finds out India's best college bands year on year. 2018, it really got big. We got great traction. Many colleges participated. Over 130 colleges participated across the country, across 80 cities. So that was a tipping point for us. And then 2020 was a year of no action because of pandemic, and then everything was left cold. So in 2021, when things started looking better in the second half, we thought of reviving the whole Parx Hunt once again, but we wanted to do a meaningful engagement. So there came the idea, because it was tough times the world was going through, everybody was struggling. So we thought of a cause. We thought that how do we help youth of the country? And there came this concept, very unique concept called GenZ4GenZ, because we in our normal lives, if we work for a cause, it's for the other generation, maybe for the school going kids, maybe for old age people. So we thought that why don't we come out with a concept where one generation rallies around similar generation and helps them, because there is something that we can sustain. If one generation is working for same generation, they grow up together, they do the proper hand holding, they understand the issues that one generation faces. So those level of understandings are similar, thought processes are similar, needs are also kind of similar. So there we thought that why don't we get Gen Z artists, singers to work around this concept, supporting to giving support to the similar generation. And yes, that's how it came. And we wanted to cut a track. We wanted to make one song. It was never a brand film. So that is very, very important for us. And when we first spoke to Sandeep sir and we told him that we want to do this, and we left it there because we wanted music and nothing else. A good music that can raise funds, give India is a partner in this. And we are kind of getting some traction, and we are hopeful that this is a runaway hit. We raise funds, and we actually genuinely help out the youth of the country for education and for skill development, so they are employable. That is very, very important for us. So that is the whole concept. And yeah, today when we sit back and enjoy this song, it has come out so well and people are liking it, and so we are genuinely very happy doing it.
I know it's an often repeated word, but it's gone viral. And I really buy the idea of it being subliminal, because if you look at that wonderful chalk art right behind Rohit Khanna, that's been used in the video. And,
Yes.
And it's so wonderful to see, the psychedelic rock bands that I grew up listening to, The Doors and Led Zeppelin. And if you go a little harder, AC/DC and Scorpions. Sandeep would also be reminiscing about his days in college. And he made a very important point there, Sandeep, and I want your reaction to this. I mean, you go to Loyola or MCC in Chennai, and you see the bands at the annual festival. You go to the IITs all over the country. You walk into Delhi University, you walk into colleges in Bangalore. The college band ecosystem is massive. But we never saw that translating into actual professional releases. And I'm a firm believer in this day and age, if it has to happen, it has to happen in this day and age. Because you don't have to be at the mercy of a record label anymore. If you're talented, you can put it out there and, let it grow organically on digital. So your thoughts on what Parx is doing with tapping into the college circuit, and how, artists in this day and age can really let their music speak?
Well, artists right now, like you said, they don't need a record label. Okay. So that leaves them independent of whatever they want to do. I believe the college shows, we used to have a lot of fests, I remember, and then it stopped, and then the DJ culture came along. Okay. But it never stopped the college shows from happening. But I guess when record labels decided that it's Bollywood and Bollywood related music that is going to sell, I think all these bands, I think there were labels that were promoting bands, basically. I remember Virgo Music, Crescendo, Magna Sound, but all that just diverted to, anything film related. And I don't know, maybe this pandemic has taught us, you suddenly have people who are backup bands who are, backing Bollywood singers on shows. Suddenly, when you have nothing to do, you have to, closet yourself in your house and, develop other skills like recording. But I think that has, that whole independent music, independent musicians, basically getting into their homes and now getting out right now. I know a lot of people right now. I know a lot of artists who even contact us right now saying, can you release our music? Or we have a couple of tracks. But I think the live band scene needs to catch up right now. I hope there's not another third wave, that's going to basically, subdue all this again, because there's nothing like live music right now. These bands, I think they don't need a record label. They can automatically, you go on to TuneCo or to DistroKid, you can put out your own EP right now. You can get onto Spotify, you can get onto Apple Music. So I think there's a new wave going to start with all these bands and these single independent artists, getting ready to launch again.
Nice. I'd like Tanya, your and Marshall's reactions on the synergy between fashion and music as a performing artist. Rohit talked about it from a marketeer or a comms person's perspective, and also as a music lover. But from a musician and an artist perspective, Tanya, when you get onto stage or when you're in a music video, how important is styling and fashion, and what is your style sense and fashion sense? And once you finish, I'd like Marshall to continue on. Marshall, what is your vibe normally when you go on stage to perform? And what is the vibe that you like to pull off in music videos, and in this one in particular? So Tanya, let's start with you.
I think I've always been into fashion, like from a young age. And I think looking back at like old rock stars and pop stars, I've taken a lot of inspiration from David Bowie, Lady Gaga, and 70s and 80s rock stars as well. So I think fashion is very important to me. I read a lot about fashion. One of my favorite designers is Alexander McQueen. I think he was legendary, and he's responsible for one of the most important moments in fashion history. His collections are insane. And so I think when I get on stage, I'm usually very inspired by the sort of grunge rock style, or the emo sort of rock style that was very prevalent during like a few years ago. And I think that I usually look for like leather jackets or something that just screams that, because like I'm a rocker at heart. So I think fashion is very important. And yeah, that's
Cool. Marshall, your vibe on stage and in videos.
Like you guys were talking about the band and that era, maybe I belong too much to that era, man. And I've been a big followers of like 90s bands like Kurt Cobain and Guns N' Roses, and Guns N' Roses a little earlier. But that is my vibe entire time. It's not getting dressed up so much flashy, and it's about making your own statement with your fashion choice. And I think like these bands have been icons for me for a very long time. And when I'm live, I'm entirely different person somehow. And I like to go mad on stage, so that's it. And about this video, Parx and Give India collaborating, I don't think there could be a more stylish way of dealing with the issue. And it's really inspiring.
And what is your fashion sense normally when you're on stage? I know you said it's badass, but what do you like wearing? Like she likes her jackets, What's your vibe there, and of course in videos?
There's always been some baggy shit going on, man. Like really, really rugged is my choice every time.
Cool. Rohit, let's come back to your brand objectives for Parx, how this initiative aligns with the larger brand objectives. And I also have to add here, for everybody who's watching and listening, the Northeast is such a hotbed of rock music, and some of the greatest bands in this country come out of that region. And I always feel that we need to take cognizance of that and give more importance to it. And what Rohit and his team have done is that they kicked off the Parx band hunt by going to the Hornbill Festival. I mean, obviously pre-pandemic, and releasing it there and launching it there. And even if you go to the Parx band hunt page now on Instagram, you will see those call to entries for various cities across the country where they're calling for bands to come and take part in this band hunt. So I think that's big ups for you and your team. Great job. But how does this really align with the larger brand objectives for Parx? My question.
Hrishi, the idea is basically if you look at multiple surveys, one gets to understand that generally the TG of this brand, which is Z from 18 to 20, youth do not believe in brands because they believe that the brands are out there to make money, and actually whatever they are doing in terms of for a particular TG is a kind of a sham. Now we take this feedback very positively and work towards addressing the same very honestly. Now, I can give you a few examples here. One, my brand page, my brand Insta handle wishes musicians across the world birthday every day, irrespective of geography, irrespective of age, irrespective of genre. So the music has to be the soul of the brand. It is very, very clear. Also, if you look at this Gen Z for Gen Z video, not a single screen grab would have my brand. Yes, there would be some chalk art like behind me, but no brand logo or mnemonic, because as I have been telling people, it's a track, it's a music video that is being made. It is not a brand film. So what we want to honestly do is to see that people believe in us, that music is the core of this particular brand. In fact, we also went up to a length where we wanted to shoot the brand campaign with actual musicians. Yeah, but it didn't work well because of the pandemic. The measurements got changed. So we had to go back to the models, the professional models. But going forward, yes, I can see Marshall One sitting right in front of me. Maybe we can get him to shoot for us. Also, now as we speak, we've already gone in about 40 odd colleges. We've got some 52 or 53 entries already from college bands. Next month, we will be starting the regional finals, moving up to the grand finale in the month of March, maybe. And I hope everything stays well with the fear of Omicron and stuff. It actually really worries us that nothing should be derailed now, because we've got back on our feet. And the best part that has happened to us as a brand from the hunt point of view, the bands are following up with us, that when are you coming to our college? When are you starting that hunt again? Because as I told you that in 2018, we had this idea that the winner bands that we get every year, we should do some activations so that they get the right exposures, the platform, and then they make it big in their lives. So the 4 bands, from different cities, smaller cities, also get to Bombay and they perform live, and people actually buy tickets and come and witness them playing. So it's a great moral high for these guys, and we want to continue with this, and we really want to get it stronger and better with every passing year.
Lovely, more power to you. You can go onto Instagram and check out Parx Live Easy, Parx LIVEEASY. That's one word. And Parx Hunt, which is the other handle, PARXHUNT. And of course, like I said, Parx Official on YouTube. And if you go through those assets, you'll realize all the purity of purpose that the brand has, that Parx has towards this particular cause. Sandeep, it's not been easy. I mean, you're looking at a whole battery of artists, if I could call this project that, Gen Z for Gen Z. Marshall, Tyagi, and Tanya, just the tip of the iceberg. When you dive in, you get names like Joel Jacob, Imna Inla, Imcha, Sumyoki, Zoe Siddharth, Natanya. The purpose of getting so many artists from Gen Z together and just collaborating, you must have had a ball of a time.
Yes, I've been doing this right now. I think I started when I started Matters of the Heart, where again I was doing it across the globe. And once the pandemic kind of started, we were just doing this for 2 years, and I guess the challenge was trying to get different voices from different studios and trying to get a seamless kind of effect on the recording. And I think since, like I said, I wake up in the morning sometimes at 3 and I get parts from everywhere and I put it all together. So it's become a habit right now, and a good one. And this was a little different because I had to handle 6 Indian fantastic singers and put them all together. And in fact, Sumyoki was also like a pleasant surprise, who kind of broke the song, and before it went into the finale. It was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to doing more. I mean, definitely taken a sabbatical from films, but I want to do more independent work like this. It just gets me to work with newer people and young people and newer musicians and newer singers.
Nice. Tanya and Marshall, I want your opinion on working with a diverse range of artists. How is it, as opposed to doing the solo vibe? I mean, you've got to take a lot of things into consideration. I mean, I'm sure you didn't do your parts together in the studio. These are pandemic times. One would have liked to do that. But the fact that, you had to dub separately, send it into Sandeep, then see the final product, collaborations. Tanya, let's start with you and then go to Marshall.
I think it's always great having, diverse people in a group or a collaboration, because that means you get to hear different opinions, different voices, different stories. And I think it was like a great experience for me, especially. It's a crazy opportunity, being so young and getting to work with such distinguished and, like experienced artists that I have a lot to learn from. And so, yeah, I'd like to obviously thank Parx for the opportunity, as well as Sandeep sir.
Marshall?
Yeah, at first when I saw the list of people who were singing the song and the scale that the song was in, I was a little bit worried. I remember calling up Sandeep sir and getting a little panicky that time. But your call actually relaxed the tension in the studio that day. You said just go with your flow and do whatever you like. Just do random things and send it to me. That's what we did, and it came out really good. And everyone was so good, and it was it has been a pleasure working with these guys, especially from all over the India and abroad also. So yeah.
Lovely. I think this would be a nice point to round up with Rohit Khanna about unearthing talent. I mean, we've talked about the band aspect of it. At the core of Gen Z for Gen Z, you want to also look at budding young artists who you can leverage and also give them a platform, given your considerable reach. Otherwise, where would a small kid, who's in Kohima, for example, who has aspirations, meet somebody like a Sandeep Chota, just to give them the wherewithal. So talk about how that is core to what all this is about, the unearthing of fresh talent.
So, Rishi, right at the concept stage, at the core of it, we looked at the landscape. We looked at the diversity. So even when I was discussing this concept with Arpito at a very, very early stage, there were a few references that we had. And the whole idea was to weave in the entire country together and look out for the talent across geographies, because that brings in the diversity, both from the audio as well as from the video point of view. So just to share that the video was shot at Bangalore, at Goa, at Mumbai, at Thane, at Dehradun, and at Kohima. So that actually captures the length and the breadth of the country. Now, we were sure that once Sandeep sir has taken over the mantle from us, he would bring in the budding talent, the right fitment, and once again the diversity, not only from the geographical point of view, but from the audio point of view, in terms of diversified voices, different articulation, everything. So when we were collecting the pieces, we knew somehow that this would be the final output. But trust me, the output has actually exceeded our expectations. And we are very, very happy and humbled to see the success of this song and the way it has come out, which actually inspires us to do more of similar stuff going forward.
Super stuff. Parx GenZ4GenZ. Go check it out on the Parx official YouTube channel, and go and follow all the handles across social media, and keep an ear out and an eye out for the Parx hunt. that fantastic initiative to unearth fresh talent. Sandeep Chawda, thanks for your time. Marshall Tyagi, all the best. Tanya Shankar, absolute pleasure talking to you. And Rohit Khanna, cheers as always, and more power to brand Parx. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss out on more content.